What is up, everybody? It's Will
and Chris
from The High Five and Knuckles Up, and I am like a giddy schoolgirl because today, none other than the legend himself, Lawrence Chalet, Big Loz, is how he's known to most the Strongman community. First of all, welcome so much onto the podcast, but even more importantly, thank you for working with us, Loz. How you doing, man?
I'm really good and I'm very excited. It's a little bit different for me. Obviously, I'm so heavily involved in Strongman, but
Sure.
You guys know I'm a massive arm wrestling fan and been pulling for a little bit myself now as well for a couple of years. Nothing serious, but I love arm wrestling. I'm like, it's brought back that excitement. You know, when you're new to a sport and you feel like a novice and you're learning things all the time, that's the way I feel about arm wrestling. Whereas in Strongman, I feel like I'm the man that people come to for advice. You know, I've been there, I've done it, I've experienced it all, and it's like a new sport for me to enjoy all over again.
Oh, I can't be happier to hear that. You know, we obviously I don't know if you remember me, but we've met many times. Of course, I saved the photos and sent them to you, but it's just so cool, and that's why the title of this podcast here is, you know, our Strongman taking over arm wrestling, because you are all larger than life gentlemen and with big hands that come along with those huge bodies. So as you know, with arm wrestling, that's incredibly important. So now you said you've been arm wrestling for how many years roughly have you been at least on a table?
I first got on a table 2019 was the first time I started pulling at all. And just, you know, sporadically, when I got a chance, I'd have a little pull. And then obviously 2020, COVID hit. Everything stopped, and then I started training again and ended up tearing my left bicep, which I was doing an event up in Scotland. So now I have two torn biceps, a torn right bicep and left bicep, which isn't ideal for arm wrestling, obviously. So, you know, getting over the kind of pandemic and stuff like that. And now I've been arm wrestling on and off for about four years, but more kind of consistently in the last 2 years.
Gotcha.
You know, the last 2 years, I'm so busy, so it's not like I can commit to anything. Like the amount of times I've said, oh, I want to do a competition, and work's come in the way. And obviously, you know, work comes first. I've got to provide for the family.
Sure.
Arm wrestling is just a hobby. So, you know, I can't just ditch, you know, big opportunities just to kind of compete in a local arm wrestling event. However, I do want to, and I will. I'm hoping to do the British Nationals this year.
All right.
Really cool. I don't expect any big things, but I don't want to do like novice comps. I want to go and get my ass kicked by the best guys and learn from that experience rather than win a trophy, if you like. And I've always just been the same in my strongman career. I'd rather go against the absolute best and learn than kind of just, you know, hang around in low-level shows. But I definitely need a lot more ready-go practice. Slow pulls, I'm not too bad. My hand and my wrist are pretty strong. Obviously, I've got like a lot of lat power, trap power, and stuff like that. Like I said, my bicep, especially my left bicep, which is the more recent one, not so good. So I tend to kind of have to come forward on the left, whereas on the right, I can kind of pull with a bit more back pressure. But I wouldn't say I'm anything. You know, I'm a novice. That's how I see myself in terms of arm wrestling. I'm very, very lucky that I've got a good crew around me. I train with Mindus Stolskus, who you guys know. Yep. He's an absolute beast. We've got some good guys at the club, and, you know, they all look after me. It was really nice because you come down as a former Europe's Strongest Man. They could easily just, you know, make me look shit if they wanted to. But right from the start, they looked after me. They made sure I stayed in safe positions, trying to teach me good fundamentals. And, you know, I've seen amazing progress over the last few years. And I try to, at least, even if I'm not able to go to the club, I try to at least do something in the gym, arm wrestling related, at least once a week if I can.
Sure, 100%. I mean, he says all this, and I bet you we're going to grip up with him and be like, what the hell? No, but that's it's great to hear that, you know, you found a new passion other than Strongman, right? It's kind of a similar, you know, experience for me. I did powerlifting to a relatively high level, dabbled in Strongman, been a fan of it forever. Derek Poundstone used to be my coach for a few years, and just, you know, love the sport. But as you said, like, you know, I mean, you compete at the pinnacle of the sport, but, you know, you get beat up, you get tears here, tears there, and we all tend to find our way back to an arm wrestling table for some reason. But no, it's fantastic to hear. But you said, you know, It's not paying the bills. Well, that's changed because this man, well, I hope we can give you a good living, but is coming down as a commentator for Knuckles Up 4 on September 14th. Let me just take a second to say thank you, everybody who is listening right now, who's live on Instagram, live on YouTube. We truly appreciate it. If you haven't gotten your tickets, go to thehigh5aw.com to get your pay-per-view and, of course, in person. Now, Loz, that's something that I pride myself on. Having been to multiple World's Strongest Mans. Chris came with me when it was in Myrtle Beach the first time.
Yep.
I was there when it was in Florida at what was the name of the beach? I can't remember. But that was in 2019, I believe. And when Martins won, and I've always wanted
that was a less fun one for me. I didn't like that one too much.
Yeah. I remember that was on the monster truck pole, right?
Yeah. Well, it was on the super yoke, which I was the world record holder on.
That's right.
I ended up tearing my Achilles, and
that's right. I remember. And then
my career, not how I wanted to.
That's when Thor tore his fascia under his foot too, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a brutal. It was so hot too, super hot.
It really was.
But I've always wanted to make the in-person for arm wrestling something big, something spectacular, right? Because when you watch Strongman, you could put Strongman in a parking lot like it's been, and it's spectacular because they're doing these massive feats of strength. And arm wrestling is very relatable to people, but it's never been brought to, really big production, the lights, the cameras, the action. So that's one of our goals here is to, bring that super high production level. And after having done these 3 events, we're like, what's a way that we can get this bigger, get it to more people? And we're like, well, what about commentary? Who else can we bring? And we're like, well, there's Strongman commentary. And then we were like, boom, we found out that you were into arm wrestling. We're like, oh, no brainer. Super pumped about it. But I know you did have your live with Aussie Arm Wrestler.
Yeah.
I know you guys went over all the card and all that type of stuff. So I don't want to have to put you through that all again. But out of the entire card, if there was just one match that you would say you're probably most excited to see, which would it be?
Oh, definitely Marcio and Jordan. That's got to be. That's an exciting one for me. Just because, when I first started watching arm wrestling, you see Marcio up against the likes of Devin Larratt and stuff like that. And I've just been super impressed with Jordan, watching him over the last couple of years. Just such a talented arm wrestler. So to watch those two is going to be really good. I'm excited for that. I mean, I'm excited for a few of them. Like I said to Ozzy the other day, to Jake, I don't know everyone on the list.
Sure.
And I'm looking forward to learning more. But there are guys that I do know and I've spent time with, and I know sort of personally. I've met Ryan before. I've met Matarangi. What a beast that man is. There's a few others as well. So James Wall, obviously, going to be supporting him from the UK. But I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
And I think what you guys are doing is great because obviously I know there's all the politics and bullshit that goes on with arm wrestling. It's the same in Strongman. We see it all the time. But you can't just have Devin Larratt as the main guy. You need to have a feeding system so we've got new talent coming through and new stars for us to enjoy watching. And this is why I'm excited to be part of this because I'm going to meet new athletes. I know that are super impressive. I know they're amazing arm wrestlers because, I'm lucky enough to arm wrestle some guys that I know they're bloody good, but no one knows who they are. They need that sort of, step to the next level. And, what you guys are doing, I think is great. And hopefully we see some, we've got former big stars here, former great arm wrestlers, but future stars as well that will help the sport grow and grow.
Well, one thing that I'm hoping you saw already, but which is actually the last time we saw each other. So because you said, right, we want to be like a farm system. We want to grow new athletes, right? We thankfully, through some very God-willing connections, are now doing arm wrestling back at the Arnold Classic.
So amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm sure you'll be commentating with obviously the Strongman, and we can't steal you away. But yeah, it's gonna be wild, and that's kind of always been our goal, right? We want to bring new athletes to the sport, right? We want more and more people to get involved, even from the youngest level. Chris and I have been talking to some schools about getting some clubs put together, and just starting at the youngest age possible. We're seeing it in Strongman. Look at Jerry Pritchett's son, Bubba. I mean, he's what, 13, and he's absolutely an animal.
That
right?
guy, he is going to be an absolute beast.
Oh, it's going to be nuts. So we want to do the same thing. And, we're going to be at the Arnold Classic, and anybody who wins at the Arnold Classic actually will guarantee themselves a spot on our pay-per-view. So that's kind of our way of, getting that, that line up to the top and stuff like that. So yeah, we're super pumped about it. But back on you, right? You said you tore both of your biceps. I'm assuming you haven't repaired either one.
No, I've got. It's giving me a good peek. So like you can see the gap.
Popeye, I love it.
Yeah, the right arm I did in 2008, and back then I was like literally told the surgeons in the UK, because of the NHS, they're great if you're dying, but if you're an athlete, it's not the best.
Gotcha.
They kind of don't want to do too much. It wasn't an injury they were very common with back then. Actually, more common for it to go from the top down with like parachuters and stuff like that. But strongman and arm wrestling, we tend to put a lot of stress on those biceps. And obviously that was not ideal, but it wasn't affecting me in terms of performance. So. They were worried if they operated it could affect my supination of my hand and potentially affect my grip, which was always a strength of mine, which I didn't want to risk. The left arm I did during COVID. In a trip up to Scotland, I was attempting some of the classic stones that they have up there. I actually lifted it, no problem. And then I was supposed to have my official attempt. But it started raining, so we had about a 45-minute delay. I cooled down. They were like, all right, we're ready to go. And I remember saying to my wife, I was like, I'm feeling a bit dehydrated. I don't know if I should do this. A big crowd all kind of gathered around, ready to watch. And you think, okay, let's do it.
Got to do it.
You just hear that feeling in the arm. And then we got locked down again. So because of the pandemic, I didn't have that operated on either.
Gotcha.
And now I'm like, I really wish I did. I'm even tempted to find a surgeon that will do it this far after.
I will say I've known a few arm wrestlers that have done it like a couple of years afterwards. Now, it is a little bit more complicated and the recovery is a little bit longer, but it is possible if you find the right guy. And now with, you've seen with all of these stem cells that people are getting, like as long as you reattach that sucker, they'll be able to heal it up. No problem. Yeah.
It's something I am sort of really considering, especially if I want to pursue arm wrestling to a higher level, because I think you can beat lower level guys just based on hand strength, but
exactly
when you go up that level, if you've got a weakness there, it's going to be massively so. So we'll see how good I get, see what offers kind of come my way. But I'm just loving it at the moment. I'm loving being involved. I love training. Literally, I don't expect any special treatment when I go down to the club. I'm just down there as one of the guys. Love training arm wrestling. I love arm wrestling. I watch as many of the pay-per-views as I can, not just the top ones.
Sure.
I watch the I don't want to say lower promotions, but obviously East versus West and King of the Table, everyone knows is like the top promotions. But I watch like Arm Wars, Arm Gods, you guys, even like just random YouTube clips. I'm trying to follow as much as I can, all the different sort of news channels.
He's throwing us under the bus, Loz. What's happening? You should have put our name with those other. It's okay. I'm just messing with you. But
that's the goal, isn't it? It's
100%. That's always the goal. And thank you, obviously, once again for joining with us and getting our goal with this too is now more strongmen can see like how incredible this sport is. And hey, you were banged up after 10, 15 years of strongman. There's still life left in you. Come down to our sport.
That's a big thing, as an athlete. All my life I've been an athlete. From 3 years old, I was competitive in sport. So from 3, I've done sport my whole life. You get to the end of your strongman career, you've had a professional career, you've been one of the top 10 guys in the world for a number of years, and then it's all over. For me, I had to do something. I couldn't just sit around and just twiddle my thumbs. So I love training, I love being in the gym, and I love competition as well. So arm wrestling was an easy transition for me. I still do kind of grip competitions. I'll still perhaps do like the odd strongman competition if it's like a masters comp that I like the look of. And I want to arm wrestle as well. And I'm training 5 days a week in the gym. I'm certainly not dead. I'm no longer a professional athlete, if you like. I'm no longer a professional strongman. But I still train damn hard. I can still hold my own with many, many, strong guys. And you know, the interesting thing with turning that strength to arm wrestling is all my strengths have no use in arm wrestling. You know, I had some of the strongest legs in the world. Doesn't mean a damn thing when it comes to arm wrestling. I mean, I get my hand strength is now that I know what I'm doing, it's making a difference. Whereas when I started, I just didn't know what I was doing. So you're trying to use too much strength and you just burn out real quick and then you beat. You're kind of fighting in bad positions. You don't know what you're doing. Whereas I've almost seen more progress in the last 6 months than I did the first few years of arm wrestling. Because now I'm sort of understanding how things link up, and you know, I would definitely say the last 6 months I've made huge progress, a lot more than I made before that. I'm one of those guys that I learn a bit slower, and then when I get it, it sort of clicks.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was just gonna say, I think it's really a testament to, like, essentially you coming, like you said, you're one of the top strongmen in the world, but how humbling the sport is, but also you as an athlete to understand how serious arm wrestling can be, and to that's where I kind of compare it from like a strength sport to like a martial art, where you're like, okay, I know that I have to give this sport due respect, and it's really a testament to you, because you could come in and be like, man, this sport is stupid. I know I'm strong. I don't need to prove anything to you guys, but you're like, you know what? Let me take the time. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to learn from essentially some of the best in the UK, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I've got some good people around me. And you know, like I said, from the start, they've sort of really looked out for me and made sure I mean, you know, sometimes if you're on the table, someone wants to kind of do something and show you up. I've been in Dubai before where guys have tried to just pin you really quickly without. But that would be like me taking you to a strongman competition and chucking 500 kilo yoke on your back.
Exactly.
You know, it's not going to help you in any way.
No.
So
That's definitely something.
Everyone that I've met has been super cool and really helpful, and it's been really nice, because I don't want to be the guy coming from strongman thinking I know everything, because I don't. You know, I'm the novice in this. I'm just excited to be here and learn. And I want to get good. You know, I want to get as good as I can. So I'm always picking people's brains and trying to figure out new things, watching videos of, I was like, that guy arm wrestles that way. I'm going to try that in the club on the weekend.
Yeah. Well, I do want to shout out real quick. We have some stars on live on Instagram and YouTube. Georgie Spekov is in the house. Paul Lynn, Mega Mike, Ryan Bad Blue Bowen is in the house. Aussie arm wrestler, and of course, Robbie Russell. Many of those names I just mentioned will be on the card on September 14th. So I'm sure they're going to want to crack at you, Loz, but just kick them under the table with those mega legs. I wanted to bring that up because you said
I'm certainly not up at that level, but we'll get on there. We'll maybe get on the table afterwards and have some.
Oh, yeah. You said they weren't useful, but I'll tell you, if you know how to arm wrestle the right way, having that steady base will definitely give you an advantage. And the reason why I say that too is, now, Loz, I know you've been going through a bit of a transformation. Oh, yeah. I'm assuming you're still over 250 pounds.
Yeah, I'm 285.
Okay, so yeah, you won't be competing in the 242s. So like,
that would be a hell of a cut.
Yeah. So keep those legs strong. Chris and I will show you a couple of tricks and tips on how to use those legs to your advantage, because I'm the same way. I'm trying to cut down, but like me cutting down is if I can get down to 275, I'll be very, very happy.
Well, I don't think a lot of people don't realize I was 370 pounds at my biggest. So I was fat.
Nah, it was usable weight. We'll call it that.
One of the strongest people on the planet.
Oh man, and supposedly Aussie arm wrestler has pinned you before. He's saying in the chat here. So I would love to see that footage, and I'm sure it was in the left arm, because Aussie says his left arm is.
He is undefeated on the left arm. So.
Yeah, he is. See, even Loz knows he's undefeated on the left arm. But yeah, we're Jake, you better watch out. I think you're going to have a rude awakening come Thursday night. No, yeah, we're super excited. We have you, we have Jake, we have Don Underwood, who's another legend of the sport of arm wrestling, all doing some of our commentary and Knuckles Up. But I'm excited because one of the things that we pride ourselves on here at Knuckles Up is that we want to make the best matches possible. It's not just, as you had mentioned, right? And we love Devin, we love Michael, we love all those huge names. But just like you'll understand, you could see some of the best competition even at the lower levels. You go to an amateur strongman and these people are killing themselves, right? And so for us, it's really, we want to put the best styles together and make amazing matches. Now, look,
Absolutely.
it happens. It happens. You get 3-0 super matches where somebody is just, well prepared. But I think as a whole, we have had so many grinder matches, so many matches that people are watching. What the? I did not expect that. That was great. So get your, I mean, Jake's got his ready, bang. You gotta work on whatever your arm wrestling catchphrase is.
There we go. We'll put it out to the people kind of watching. What should I use?
Oh man, it's gonna be.
I don't have any arm wrestling catchphrases, so we're gonna have to work on those.
Well, we will definitely. And Lawrence has to get you've got your strongman stuff. We need to think of a nickname for Lawrence, like on the table.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's true. I feel like Ozzy's really good at that. He might have threw one in here.
He'll probably have something by the end of the weekend. You'll probably have 3 from him. No, but it'll be good. Now, remind me, Chris, and I hope I'm not speaking wrong, but is Auntie Liz coming too?
I believe so.
Is indeed, yes.
Wow, very cool. So I think
you know what she is. She could be a good arm wrestler if she put the time into it.
I was just
really.
About to say, let's see if we can get her on the table.
Yeah, you have to get her on the table, teach her a few things. But like for someone that's so against arm wrestling, she's bloody strong in a hook.
That's awesome.
Wait, but why is she against arm wrestling?
She's a strongman fan. That's what she wants to focus on. And I'm trying to convert her and get her into the arm wrestling world. Although she has sat there and watched some of these matches with me and been kind of drawn in. So I think we're getting somewhere.
I think so. Oh, that's a good one from Aussie. The Lozbian. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Not your best work, Jake. Not your best work. I think we could do better. But no, I think Liz. Well, Chris's wife is a very avid arm wrestler, and we unfortunately, as you had heard, and for anybody listening, shout out also, Pablo is in the chat. He is live on Instagram, and Paul Italia as well. Ton of people hopping in here. Lucky.
These are all people that I watch. I watch their YouTube channels and stuff like that.
I love it. It's great. Look, they're looking at you, Loz. They're like, man, this guy needs a super match. Where was I going with that?
I mean, on the topic of super matches.
I remember where it was. Sorry, I apologize. Unfortunately, even though we'd love to, and we will, show Liz as much as we can about arm wrestling, we have a ton of women there. As many of you have heard, due to unforeseen circumstances outside of our control of the, like you said, there's politics in strongman. Well, there's politics in arm wrestling. We had to cancel the match between Ayane and Ursula. So many people were super pumped about that one. And it is something, Loz, that we do pride ourselves on, is bringing more opportunities for women in the sport. I think it's super huge. But it is what it is. We're going to move on, and we're going to keep going forward. And hopefully, if Loz will have us, he'll be coming to KU5 too.
That would be awesome. I mean,
January 25th, is your schedule open?
I'd need to check, but January usually not too bad. So
okay. Okay.
If people want me back, I might really blow this, and people are going, I don't want
to. No. I highly doubt it.
Yeah, but if hopefully I can do a good job. That's all. I want to add some value to this event. I want to, I've got a ton of respect for all the athletes. I've got a lot of respect for you guys. So I hope I can do a good job and just add a little bit of something, I guess, and maybe bring a few strongman fans into arm wrestling as well.
Please, yeah. I think that would be great. I mean, we're really pumped about it. As I'm sure you know, but for anybody who's listening, so Friday night, we're going to have the press conference at 5 p.m. EST. So you'll be seeing Lawrence, you'll be seeing Aussie, you'll be seeing Don Underwood, myself, Chris, all the athletes. You'll be able to talk to them and hear about their super matches and whether they hate their opponent. I mean, we're all here for a good time at the end of the day. But very importantly, the person you do know, Ryan Bowen, came up with a pretty good name for you here on Instagram. Big Loz, the Leverage Lord. not bad.
Alliteration's awesome.
I mean, we can work it. We can make it better. But yes, Lawrence, thank you so much. Before we wrap up here in a minute or two, just for hopping on and as you said, spreading the awareness to the strongman community and for taking a leap of faith and working with us. We really do appreciate it, and we're excited. I mean, it's going to be good.
And I think to your point, Loz, just getting more exposure of the sport to, I feel like there is a lot of translatable strength. I think strongmen, if they just even knew this was a legitimate sport, it'd be kind of contagious, right? So we can appreciate
it. And we are seeing, Brian Shaw's shown interest in arm wrestling.
That's right.
Exactly.
Which is huge. And, there's guys out there in strongman that have, do you guys know who Mark Felix is?
Yeah.
Do I? The guy's hands are twice the size of both of our heads.
Mark doesn't know how to arm wrestle, but if he just knew a little bit, he would be incredible. I hooked up with him, and I have a relatively big hand, and he just engulfed my hand in his. It was just, his fingers were like wrapping around.
Oh man,
it was. Crazy.
And you gotta think of it too, Loz. There's so many aspects of strongman that can be interesting, right? So, for example, right, Novikov isn't the biggest guy, but he's super explosive, and explosivity plays a huge part on the arm wrestling table, right? So, there's so many. That's what I love about strongman in general is there's so many different body styles, types. Some guys are fast, some guys are slow. You look at Graham Hicks, right? Not the tallest guy, but pound for pound and just meatball of a man. I think he's trying to break the deadlift world record.
Yeah, he's going to be in Vegas a couple of weeks. Your event for the Deadlift World Championships.
Wait, it's not coinciding with the Mr. Olympia, is it?
No, the Olympia. They've got America's Strongest Man at the Olympia.
Oh,
I think America's Strongest Man at the Olympia is in October, and the Deadlift World Championships is the end of September.
Oh, okay, very cool, very cool.
So yeah, we're coming to your guys' event, and then we fly back, and then we're back in Vegas for the Deadlift World Championships.
Oh, very awesome. Yeah, so there's so many different strongmen that are built so differently that if they decide to come over, whoa, man. Like you said, Brian, that's huge, right? Not obviously just physically, but he's got a massive platform, and it seems like he has the itch. So I would love to see where that goes. Maybe that'll have to be your first super match, Loz.
I challenged Brian to an arm wrestle, and
did you?
Yeah, he kind of he was sort of asking a lot of questions. I think the hard thing for Brian is he's a superstar.
Sure.
And he will need to really plan out his matches, and he'll want to win his matches. So, losing to me wouldn't look good. Losing to a really good arm wrestler that doesn't have a following wouldn't look good. So he's going to have to sort of pick and choose matches, I think, to build that confidence. Because the one thing Brian doesn't really understand at the moment is how much that elbow is going to hurt when he's really starting to spar quite a bit. And, he's strong, but he's new to it. And it doesn't matter how strong you are, you've got to learn how to arm wrestle as well.
Yeah, and right? Because now that you've been doing it, those training for arm wrestling doesn't stimulate those pains, right? Those first couple practices, and you're getting home and you can't sleep because your elbow is just throbbing in pain. He's got to go through those newbie pains. But we have a couple just one or two quick questions before we end here. One of them was they were just asking if you've ever met or ever gripped up with the legend, the Bear, I believe he is called, right? From Russia, Vitaly Lailatin. If you've ever felt his hand before.
Unfortunately not. I've never had a chance to meet Vitaly. I've met Levin a couple of times. He's a beast. We're about the same height, but it's just his thickness in his wrist and his hand. Crazy. But no, I haven't had a chance to meet Vitaly.
And then I think we can end on a fantastic note here. I think the best submission we've had for your nickname so far is the Wizard of Loz. There we go. Absolutely fantastic.
I mean, with like a robe and a wizard's hat on. And
oh my God. Chris, do you think we can get a custom one made in time?
Maybe. I think for Loz's benefit, we can't.
Yeah. I don't want to get punched in the face. But Loz, thank you so much for coming on. We truly appreciate it.
No worries at all, guys. I'm excited to be coming over and seeing you guys, seeing all the athletes.
Yeah, so we will see him in 2 weeks at September 14th. Knuckles Up 4. I'm going to do the plug one more time, guys. Go to thehigh5aw.com and get your pay-per-view and in-person tickets now. If you're a Strongman fan and you want to see a new sport, come down, check out arm wrestling. Lawrence will be there. We'll be there. The entire crew is going to be there. It's going to be a great time. And for everybody on Instagram for joining in, thank you guys so much. Guys, we'll see you soon. Loz, thank you so much. Have a good one.
See you soon, guys. Take care.